Dun, 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 dun. It's the second box. The sculpture box. And, like the other one, it does have a image booklet. A lot of stuffs. Pretty booklet. What's it there? The super fancy Jazzified carrying case. Jazzified. You're now a verb, Jazza. Been Jazzified. That's really nice. And it just like rolls up. Got some nice armature wire in there. Exacto thingies. Or, not exacto thingies, but Excel blade. Little tool. I mean, it's not a blade. It's from Excel. And there's a blade there. These are like little sculpty things. They're nice. And brushes. It's not as soft as I thought it would be. I do have one of these, but it's a little janky. So it's got like little stabby bit. Ooh, rolling pin. I need one of those. That's good. I keep meaning to buy it, and I keep forgetting. Oh, these are like little like scrapey chunks of varying shapes and sizes. This actually I already have. Mine, however, it's a little messy. Two of the big important things. This seems a lot smaller than I remember it. I thought they were like supposed to be the same size. Oh well, it's cosplay, which I've been wanting, but it's like always sold out. So yay! Cosplay is a different thing. Cosclay is a flexible clay. Even after you bake it, it will stay flexible, so you don't have to worry about it breaking. This you don't bake. That would be bad if you did that. These are like little bendy blades. Bendy blade blades. Which one of these comes out first? Pastels. I do have a set of pastels. I used them, gosh, I think 2 years ago for a video. I'm not a huge fan of pastels just because the one art class I did take when I was like in elementary school, they're like, here, use these. Okay, how? It's just like chalk. Just use them. But how? So, like, I know you can do really cool things with them, but yeah. Clay-wise, I know that you can use them to, like, give gradients and add shading and stuff to it, though, so that is cool, and these are really nice colors. There. And this is colored Sculpey, which I've never used. I've only used, original Sculpey so far. I've used original Sculpey and, Kato clay, something like that. I did buy Super Sculpey 3 and Super Sculpey Firm, but I never got around to using them because life. So yeah, I have colored clay now too. I just packed all this in here. I think I do want to use the colored clay. Just real quick. Well, that took a whole heck of a lot longer than I anticipated. But yeah, I decided, you know, use the colored clay and make myself a little wish sayer. You know, I did him with the inky box. I thought it was only right that I'd do him here. I don't think I'm gonna be able to do them with the miniature box. I don't really think there's a way for me to do that. So I'm gonna bake him, and then I'm gonna start on a different project, slightly bigger project, which is actually a recreation of my it's going to be a recreation of my very first sculpt, essentially. I'm fairly certain this was my very first sculpt. But it's Totoro holding his umbrella over Calcifer because it was raining, and I've been wanting to redo it, but I've been scared to. But there's definitely things that I want to change with how I did it. I had made the base completely out of clay, so I'm going to make it a little bit bigger. I'm going to use this as my base. The cosplay, the reason I wanted to wait for the cosplay is mostly for this nonsense here. And then for the water, I had sculpted the water and then painted it. I do want to try, this is not going to be the first time I've used resin. I've made a bunch of like little resin nonsenses. The closest one for me to grab is this pyramid thing. But I want to try to use this in order to make the water effect instead of using the clay and paint. And yeah, so that's going to be what I attempt to do now. I am kind of terrified. So I started with my base because I figured it would be the easiest thing to start with. I wasn't sure how much of the fake grass moss stuff I was going to use, or which kind that I had that I was going to use, so I just did the entire thing with the grass texture that I learned from watching Nerdy Crafter, just so that it would be there no matter what I chose. I actually ended up not using much fake plants at all for this, so it's probably a good thing that I went through and did the grass texture. Making Totoro was kind of scary. I actually ended up overworking this white clay here, which is the sculpty cloud soft stuff. So it was a bit extra mushy. So I did end up having to put like a little bit of foil on the inside to help it. But I knew I needed the armature wire in there for his arms, simply because the one arm does stick out holding the umbrella up. Found some rocks that actually looked a bit like the ones that I had sculpted before, so that was kind of cool. And for Calcifer, I actually wanted to put him on like little pieces of wood, because it makes a little more sense than him just sitting in the grass. So I had bought some driftwood from Dollar General and broke little pieces of that off to make for his little fire log pile. For Totoro, you'll see me hold it over my phone on the side there a few times. I had a picture of Totoro just sort of standing that I had screenshotted to the size I generally wanted him, and I was sort of just measuring it off of that, as well as getting advice from people on how to do certain things. So it's me poking at the phone. I didn't worry too much about getting him very smooth, simply because I knew I was going to put a fur texture on him. I just needed him to be generally smooth enough that his shape was correct. I probably could have put a little bit more of a face on him, but at the same time I think it works pretty good with the size that I did do it. And I like his little tail, and I like how it hangs off the edge. It did make it a little hard to bake him. I did end up having to
put him in with the base because I didn't really have any other way to set him. I did like try to make it look like his two legs were there, but they sort of ended up getting a little lost. But they're there, and I did give him his little toe claws, which I almost forgot about. And, you know, oh yeah, he needs his little toe claws. And then I completely didn't make his hand claws. So you'll see me make those later on. For his mouth, I did actually, like, properly place his mouth, unlike in the original one where I just painted it on. Same thing with the nose. I actually gave him, like, an actual nose rather than painting it on. And this time I gave him, like, the happy closed eyes rather than these sort of crazy open eye thing that I gave him where he kind of looks a little crazy. It's not bad, but it's a little crazy to look at. I did give him a separate piece for his belly, for the part that's like that tannish, light grayish color, just because I did want it to be a little bit separate from the rest of him to make it look a little bit more fluffy, and it also helped give him a little bit more definition in his roundness. I do wish I had baked his belly before attaching the arms, because I kept smushing his belly and having to redo the fur texture on it. The arm that was hanging down wasn't too difficult. I just needed it to not look super static and sort of stiff, which I think I managed to do. It kind of looks like he's kind of like yee with his hand. Not that you know what he looks like, but whatever. There's me making his little finger claws. His other arm is the thing I was the most terrified to do in this sculpt. Just because it did need to be sticking out, and it needed to also be able to hold this umbrella. In the original one, he didn't have his little finger claws, and I just sort of had it like weirdly wrapped around the umbrella. Well, in the movie, he actually holds the umbrella between two of his claws, and I wanted to try to replicate that news. I had no idea how I was going to do it, because I didn't want to have like armature wire coming out of his hand into the umbrella, because one, it would be really difficult to paint around, and two, I felt like it would look really awkward if I didn't do it right. So I was like, how do I do this? Well, I kind of figured out how to curl the claws in a way that it could kind of sit on top of the claws, and then I used resin to sort of slap it on there after it was painted. Calcifer. Calcifer is made with the driftwood, the UV resin. Always use gloves when you use resin, kiddos. It's chemicals. The hand that does not have a glove on never wants to touch the resin. Don't touch resin without gloves. Don't do it. This was mostly me fighting with gravity, trying to get the shapes I wanted. But yeah, it was UV resin with the Pearl-X powders that I got out of the Inky box. And, so yeah, this is my, good lord, first attempt at the umbrella, which, like, even as I was doing it, I'm like, this is stupid, this isn't gonna work, I have to, but I was like, I have to try it anyway, just to see. But it was really stupid the way I did it. It was me taking Totoro out of the oven. And it's like, why did I, and I almost just clipped this part out of the video. I'm like, no, I'm gonna show that I tried it and that I messed up and it didn't work, because that happens. And, it's a thing. And I know why I messed it up. The armature wire itself wasn't strong enough to hold the shape with the cause clay, and it wasn't embedded in the cause clay enough for it to not just come out. So the cause clay ended up just baking flat, which you'll see here in a second. There it is on top of my laptop there, just nice and flat. And kind of useless. I don't know, maybe I'll find a way to use it in something else. The reason I didn't do it this way in the first place is because it's very similar to how I did the original umbrella, which, as you saw, turned out very wonky and just bad and does not look like an umbrella at all. But I went on the Snakes of Clay Facebook, and I was asking on Discord, on the Nerdy Crafter Discord. I was like, help. And they gave me a few suggestions, and one of them was, do it in sections. And I was like, I'm kind of scared to do that because that's how the other one ended up being bad. So they kind of someone suggested doing it in a slightly different manner, which you saw me doing here. I think it was the one person on Snakes of Clay that suggested it that way. And you can see it down in the corner there, and it actually worked really well. And I mean, it's not perfect. It doesn't look like the most amazing umbrella in the world, but it looks like an umbrella. You can look at it and go, that's an umbrella. So I'm happy about that. Painting, colors. I mentioned this back when I did my gnome in 19. When I do digital art, it's super vibrant and rich and colorful, and whenever I paint, it's like this very desaturated, earthy, and I don't know why it happens most of the time, but this time I was kind of going for that, honestly. But it is kind of weird to look at my digital art and see all these bright colors, and then look at my traditional art and it's like darker. But weird observations of my art. But I did start with sort of a darker, rich green, because I wanted it to look like it was raining, like it was dark. And then did use a very dark wash to get the shadows in there, and then went over it with a lighter dry brushing. I did use the wash as a base for the umbrella, just so it wouldn't be like this. Layers are important, people. They do actually do something. I don't know how to explain it, but it does. So yeah, there's a base color of green on the umbrella. Where Calcifer was, I kind of kept it darker, just, because he's fire. He would be burning the grass, kind of a thing. Like, it's wet, so it wouldn't, be scorched, but it wouldn't be its nice, vibrant green. Glued all the rocks on there. I had taken a picture of how the rocks had set so I could match them back in. Of course, when I set the rocks, I didn't take into account his toesies, so it almost didn't fit. But I got it to work, and then I figured out where I wanted to put plants, and I started painting Totoro. Same kind of thing. I started with the sort of base, darker tan color, or not tan color, wow, darker gray color. I wasn't quite sure exactly how gray and how brown to make this, because some images you see him, he's almost got more of a brown coat, and then other times he's just a straight gray. So there is just a hint of brown in his colors there. Not a lot, but a little bit. And then again went in with the darker wash and then the lighter gray for highlights. The parts that wouldn't be under the umbrella, I did add a few more highlights just to kind of show that it's not under the shadow of the umbrella. I'm not sure how noticeable it actually is, but it's there. And then after I got his base color all done, I went and I did his face and his little paw bean things and his tummy. And yeah, that was Totoro. And then I had to paint Calcifer's face on, which wasn't all that difficult. Somehow his face ended up coming off at one point, though. I don't know how that happened, so I had to repaint it on. And then I glued it all together, and I added my gel resin for the water puddles and to stick the grassy stuff on. And I resined the umbrella into his hand, so it's not going anywhere. And, you know, it was, I sealed it all in, and that was it. And you'll see it at the end there. And I'm out of breath and I'm done talking now. Voiceover Kiki's going away. Yes, enjoy the rest.
Yeah, it's all done. It's all finished. And I have my little dude. I'm so happy with my little dude. My little wish sayer. And he's adorable. He's so cute. Yeah, I used the colored Sculpey for him. And then, you know, this. Yeah. It's just a little bit of a difference there. Yeah. I can't even speak. I'm really happy with how he came out, and his little tail hanging off the edge, and the little water, and Cassifer, and the umbrella looked like an umbrella for the most part. I mean, more like an umbrella than whatever that is. I'm so happy with how it turned out. I've wanted to redo this piece for over a year. I'm ecstatic with how it came out. It looks so, like, you know, this is still cute. It's you know, his face is a little creepy, but it's still cute. But you know, this I feel like shows really how far I've come when working with sculpt and stuff, and yay! You know, he's got fur texture, and he's got, you know, definition to him, and the face wasn't added on as an afterthought. The colored clay, and I really liked it, aside from the fact that my hands were blue afterwards. But you know, it's got, the colored clay has a charm to it, and I do like it. It's very cute. But yes, I had fun. I hope you had fun watching. I've still got the miniature box to go, the Mega Minis. Kind of intimidated by it, but I'm also really excited. So yeah, if you like this, then you know, maybe go and check out some of my other videos. And if you really liked it and you want to continue to join me on my arty journey, then don't forget to hit the subscribe button and the little bell thing. And yeah, we'll keep on going. And I hope to see you around on the art adventure. Bye.